shit like that. It's awesome. It's a good place to go.
I used to go there every year on vacation. My dad lived.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's Jared. He's sexy intro. Come on, Jared's on. No. Let's see. That made me sad.
I know, that made me sad.
That made me sad.
Hey! What's up, guys?
Why are you guys sad?
1, 2, 3.
We're missing one again.
Yes, I actually titled the name of this episode Drew-Vid.
We got Joe back, but now we're missing.
Oh, Drew.
Now we're missing Drew. That sucks.
I'm here. I'm live. Like,
What's up, buddy?
This happened before when we used to be on the D.
Yeah. There was, what was it? There was like a 2-month span where
all three of us weren't on the show at the same time.
Yeah, you and I finally got Joe back, and then you couldn't leave work, and then, and then that was, yeah.
It didn't help that D was kidnapping us too. When Z kidnapped each one of us separately, we've all been kidnapped.
This is true.
How is that guy out on the streets?
And then, oddly enough, Mo kidnapped him. So it's you know, I mean, I guess what goes around comes around. You know.
Yeah. Well, last week I had to work. This week Drew has the vid apparently.
Yeah.
We wish you would get better, Drew stuff. It's not the same without you. Once Drew's been in you, it's hard to not have him in you.
Right.
Right. It's just he fills a gaping hole.
And because
I don't know about gaping, it's a hole, but it ain't gaping.
Yeah. Don't say the words. Don't say those words. It's gonna get Joe all excited if you say those words. Okay. So
I got to see Todd this afternoon, so my hunger has been.
So because Drew isn't here, we're completely abandoning our business model. We're
get that shit out the window.
Throwing it out the window.
Fucking Bible, and Joe's gonna dance the Watusi.
Yeah. If there's no Raw rundown, what are we even doing here?
All right, Sam.
Like, honestly, it's kind of become a show. I mean, everybody waits.
The Raw rundown. It's a show within a show. And everything just sucks if it's not here. So because everything right now pre-SummerSlam is kind of in its holding pattern, they're kind of just going along. I asked the guys if it was cool. We just had some discussions about some other stuff that's been going on just in the world of wrestling. All right.
Right.
So,
you know what's a great topic you forgot to put on the board? Jean shorts.
We're
trust me, we're gonna let Joe take all the time he needs for that part of the discussion. Okay.
7 seconds.
So Joe, when you weren't here last week, we touched on it a tiny bit, but I really wanted to get your input on it, but then also maybe expand the discussion of how I feel about it. But how are you feeling about NXT NA?
I mean, I think it's kind of a cool idea.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's anything. Like, I'll try it once, see if I like it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think it's the right way to go.
Right. So, do you think? Okay, so they're messing around with it, and it's obvious, right? So, are they taking the safer route by injecting smaller parts of TNA into NXT and not to Raw or SmackDown?
Well, yeah, I think it's obvious it's a safer route because you're not altering everything right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like, and you're seeing what works. It's that kind of like test and try out, see if something works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like when we had, when we were working with Z, it wasn't working out. We tried something new. You know what I mean? And everything we tried it's like that fucking idiot that we used to have as an intern, Scott Stomper.
Yeah, Stomper.
We had him on the show. It didn't work, so we got rid of him and got Todd.
Yeah, it's true. Now, I was wondering if you guys also felt the same how I felt. Right now, TNA is an established brand. We can discuss all day where you put it on tiers compared to other stuff. But am I the only one that feels that whoever comes in, almost everybody that comes in from TNA, especially if they're a champion, should be winning if they're in NXT because it's the developmental brand? Like, I don't think Jordan Grace should have lost unless it was a dirty. Someone came in and helped cheat, and it was the dirty win, or a distraction.
Even though NXT is technically WWE's developmental, it's the true developmental is the training center itself. Those guys that aren't on TV and everything. And I think they just want to signify that NXT is on the same caliber as TNA, and then the main roster is that next tier. I think they're trying to firmly establish tiers here, and I don't think they're going to, as much as Triple H is being like cool with so much, trying so much, I don't think he's ever going to be like, oh yeah, that product's better than our product, even if it is NXT and not the main roster.
Right. So
NXT was what they were battling AEW with.
Right.
Go ahead, Ted.
So, two things. One, I did read somewhere that Moose said that maybe you guys signed it. I don't know. I get so mixed up with shit half the time. That his relationship, like a TNA relationship with WWE, is a million times better than it was with AEW.
Oh, I can imagine.
And then the other thing, which I had, and it's funny, I brought this up in the chat, and then like later, I saw a fucking article about it, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Nick Namath, Dolph Ziggler, popped up in NXT? And then I saw an article of an interview with him asking him that question, and he said no. But he did.
You want to be the first wrestler to lie.
Well, it was one of those things where it was more like, basically like he kind of, accomplished what he wanted to over 19 years in WWE. And he just, not that he was like a dick about it or felt like NXT was beneath him. He just didn't feel like whatever. But he did say, now, if Randy Orton called me out on Raw, then we'll have a conversation.
Right. I saw that article.
Right.
So,
but I mean, you're right, Todd. He is also. It's a good point to say he did accomplish what he's doing, but now this year already, I mean, we're almost 8 months in, and he's won 3 big titles in 3 different companies.
Yeah.
He won a AAA belt, he won an IW GP belt, and now he's the TNA champion. I mean, that is awesome. That's for
Jinder popped up in that company that Cardona runs, like GCW or something like that. I can't remember what his name is now, but yeah, so he like showed up, like he came out of the crowd wearing like this hood and shit, and like beat up somebody and then took it off, and it was like, woo, just like that. No real like excitement. They were all just like, woo.
I hate when so I feel like people should get pops and they don't, and
Jinder was never really, I don't know, man. They threw him around so much that I think in the end when he left the WWE, he was just kind of that guy, like he was just Jinder Mahal. Like, so showing up, Cardona did his shit, fucking Zack Ryder, that was just everybody got behind that, whatever. And like Jinder just nobody. He didn't really get that attraction. That whatever, like they put a belt on him. They did this and they did that. He was in 3-man.
I believe his whole belt run was a response to WWE at the time new established relationship with India.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah, they literally came out and said it.
Yeah, I mean the best thing he ever did was 3MB. That was they should have just put that back together. I don't understand why they wouldn't. But so like I see someone like him not really getting big pop, even if he came to even ICW, locally, people would be like, fucking Jinder Mahal, Right. Oh yes, Joe, you would like to touch me?
Did that once today. 12 years ago, on this day in 2012, the 1,000th episode of Raw. And John Cena became the first man not to win a title after cashing in a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Poor John.
Big match, John.
Big match, John.
Mm-hmm.
So when Drew is back, I want to do the big, what's coming in 2025 John Cena episode.
Okay, so that I know we kind of touched upon it in the group chat, but I wasn't sure if we talked about it on here. But let's wait till all four of us.
Yeah, when we hit another week like this,
we got to pick each pay-per-view that's left and what the matchup is going to be, and then we'll have to come back.
Yeah, what everyone wants to see. Yeah. Okay, so next little topic here. AEW has too many belts. Everyone in the interwebs, everyone says that, everyone agrees. It's like they got 2 whole companies worth of titles. They keep adding their own. They keep bringing in IWGP's titles there. So AEW has too many titles and not enough showtime for it. But does WWE have enough?
Yes.
Because if you get too many, it starts to get lost in the shuffle and things get fucking tossed to the wayside. And I would like to, because it was old school and I feel like it was around forever. Maybe I'm wrong. I just think it's been around forever, or thought it was, like the European Championship. They need to bring that back. Other than that, I think they're fine with belts.
I'm glad you mentioned it, right? This is the reason why. I was honestly going to mention the European in contrast to, I really like the Cruiserweight belt, and I think it should be around because you have your smaller guys that are insane, awesome talents. And most of the time, it's pretty much shown that they're not going to get a big-time belt because not everybody is Rey Mysterio. And maybe they'll get a mid-card title. But if you have not to be mean about it, but a 3rd-tier belt, or if you have the Cruiserweight title, then if on the opposing show you have the European title, you have something else to mess around, or even bring back WCW's TV title. In response to so SmackDown can have the TV title, or Raw can have the Cruiserweight, or vice versa. Just something more. It's mainly that. I don't even want to see trios belts or intergender tag team belts before I want to see that. I almost want to see a 3rd, tier for the smaller guys. What's up, Joe?
So what you do is you have the 2 heavyweight belts, the one on each show. You have the IC. You have the US.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You bump the US down to 3rd tier, and you just have the IC as the 2nd tier. And your 3rd tier is the US and the European title. You put the Cruiserweight on NXT.
Okay.
And you kind of have almost a Cruiserweight division in NXT. Because let's be honest, the Cruiserweight is never going to be your biggest draw. Combining your 2 lower draws, which would be NXT itself, it's than the main roster, and you throw a Cruiserweight division in there, even if you extend NXT by an hour and just an hour that is like cruiserweight bullshit put into it, I wouldn't say demote it. You just transfer that cruiserweight to there, because even when they had the cruiserweight show, at first it was cool, but then after a while it just kind of got played out. You need that kind of contrast, and having the cruiserweights at NXT, you can kind of almost figure out who will be able to roll the big dogs on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
You just wouldn't have to participate in the cruiserweight division.
Right. That's a good call, because they kind of tested the waters with that a little bit, but much like 205 Live, like you just mentioned, they didn't handle that correctly. It made a cool splash when it started, but then it was just the way it was handled. It's like it was on at the end. They were taping it at the end of SmackDown. If they were going to tape it at all, it should have been before SmackDown, and it would have had a lot more energy. And they just didn't. They handled it incorrectly, and I think it should have been, like you said. I think it actually should have been taped. And I think we had this part of this discussion way back when, at the D, that they should be taping it at where they had NXT. It shouldn't have even been taped on the road. It should have been taped at their studio for that. That would have been way better, and I think it would have been more successful. And I don't know, maybe they can bring back the Cruiserweight Classic again. And then reintroduce it, find a way to make it work again, but yeah, it's too bad. So
I also think though too, the more shows you get, the more confused fucking people get and get frustrated. So like to me, like the 3 shows they do is like perfect. Is you have your 2 main ones, you have your NXT. It's easy if you follow. Like right now, I don't know who these 2 dudes are, like what their names are, fucking in this match that was just going on. But these guys just fucking beat the shit out of each other. If you could see this one dude's back from the fucking kendo stick, like,
oh, nice.
It is fucking insane. Like I said, it's probably one of the better matches I've seen in WWE like recently. And it's, not to be that guy or be a dick or show disrespect by any means, but it's fucking on NXT.
Right.
And it was just an absolute fucking, like, barn burner. Like.
Right. Well, I mean, for a while, remember when even when we all started back up, it's the NXT, the black and gold era, that was when NXT was the best product. The Undisputed era, the Tommaso and Johnny era, like that ruled.
DIY.
That was the best.
Before we go any further, let's hear a little noise from our sponsor.
Yo, bring them.
Have you ever found yourself in the need for some screen printing? What about some vinyl work? Well, we have the spot for you. Seasonal Sports, 215 Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro. Has all your needs. Go see Fred at Seasonal Sports.
Sexy.
Hello. What's next on your list, Gary?
Can we just talk about this? I know it's not on the list, but it's all like it's literally the only thing, mostly except for the jean shorts that I've been watching Raw for, is the Wyatt Six shit last night was just
creepy as fuck.
Just amazing. Like it was fucking amazing. Yeah. Like it finally like introducing her, and shit, but just Bo is just doing a fucking insane job with this whole thing. That getting in the fucking ring, in it. Yeah, like getting in the ring and just him being like, there you are, like just that shit was like, what the fuck? And then the pop that Sister Abigail got, I have not heard a fucking wrestling move get a pop that loud in a very long time. People, yes. Move, no. And the place fucking blew up more for that than they did kind of for the whole thing going on at that point in time. And it was so quick. And I think that was like the best part about it. It was like, it happened. They were there. He was behind him, face to face. Sister Abigail, boom, done. And it just, so yeah, like it's honestly like the main. I highly look forward to every Monday now because of that storyline, because they are doing it correctly.
They're
slow, but not too slow. Like they are like introducing people, but now showing like, okay, we're getting in the ring now. Okay, fucking Uncle Howdy, mask, dreads, and all just hit you with fucking Sister Abigail. But, you know, like starting to get the momentum that I wish they had done, you know, with Bray, you know, whatever. But, yeah, it like, I really do get like super excited now for Raw because I want to see what the fuck's going to happen next with that. So that's what I had to say.
Do you guys, so from last week to this week, which I think was maybe Bray's original intent, do you guys like how they humanize Bo, but Uncle Howdy is terrifying? Like, and we know that they're the same person, and like, so Bo can get beat up, but then Uncle Howdy's going to come for you. Do you guys like that contrast that they've obviously stayed? I mean, the last 2 weeks, it's what they're obviously trying to go for. That yeah.
He's going to be kind of like
It kind of reminds me of a serious way of dealing with the Mass Kane and Corporate Kane kind of thing. You know how like they treated it we all knew it's the same person,
right?
But they treated it like two separate things. This is taking more of that serious supernatural approach to real mental health, kind of like the M. Night Shyamalan movie that went. The last one was Glass. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, Sam Jackson. What was the name of it?
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Yes, Unbreakable. And what was the last one?
It was Unbreakable, Split, and Glass.
Yeah.
Split. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's almost giving a split, like the movie way, like where it's two completely separate entities sharing the same body. Like I totally get it.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I was like, what really? I mean, a couple of things stood out on Raw last night, but that was I don't know, for me, just the more like. Because he didn't know what was going to happen. You know, the three of them have walked out there before and stood in the fucking ramp, you know, or whatever. Like, you didn't. Plus, it was Uncle Howdy. It wasn't Bo. They beat up Bo. They didn't beat up Uncle Howdy, you know. So, I mean, like, just everything about it was just like, all right, Triple H, you clearly should have been running this company more like 20 years ago.
Right.
But it's.
And I knew Uncle Howdy was coming because, like, you knew there was the only four of them in the silhouette. And me and Blake were watching that. I'm like, oh, here comes Uncle Howdy. He goes, what do you mean? And then they did the close-up of Gable, and then they panned out. And, like, Bo was looking like a slim, like, the Fiend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So, no, keep going. I hope they just keep nailing this thing.
Yeah, they're doing it right. But you know, it's been good. It's not stale. It's good. So, we all know that Dom and Liv are inevitable, right? This is going to happen at SummerSlam. Right? Am I the only person that sees like it seems like he's going to accidentally help Liv win, but? And I don't know why I can just see it in my head, and it's like, and then she's walking off and she's holding the title and she's laughing and he's behind her like looking like, oh God, and then he just puts his arm around her.
I think it's gonna happen the opposite way. I think Rhea is gonna turn on Dom, and that in turns Liv's like, Dom, you're single now, and it puts them together. I think it's going to be the opposite of Dom fucking up and Rhea's going to whoop his ass because we're kind of already seeing that. I think they're going to flip it and do it the other way.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, is Jey Uso going to get them digits?
Jey Uso's already got them digits.
You know, like that's something they should have kept going for like weeks. He should have just been standing around going, like, just randomly, like down the hall, like he just peeks his head out the door and goes, and then like goes back in. He's hilarious.
My question is, why haven't you already said goodbye to Rhea?
So for everybody, like, Joe was wondering how we weren't already talking about that all day. Joe wanted to dedicate the entire episode to Liv's jean shorts, so everybody knows.
Actually, the name of the episode is Wrestle Fandom Radio, Drew-Vid. And then underneath it, it says, Dominic Mysterio was very mean to Liv Morgan, and we don't like it. It's the description for the episode.
So,
like,
so what else do you have to say about the shorts? It's a whole thing on the internet, right?
Oh, dude, like it's literally a trending topic on TikTok.
Is it really?
Yeah. And I'm just saying, it's our girl Liv. Yeah, we know she's a little light in the top part here. Her screws are a little loose, but it's Liv. That's our champion. And,
right.
You know, I'm tired of Mommy. Mommy seems like she's an abuser. Liv just seems like she's a cuddler.
I'm sure accusation.
I'm pretty sure Rhea Ripley hits Dominic. I think he's a battered husband.
I don't know, man. You know, there's a difference between, you know, hitting somebody in public and hitting somebody in the bedroom.
No, it's not like our kind of hitting. It's like that.
Oh, okay.
My dad came home after 20 beers after a long day at the coal mine, and I left my toy out, and he tripped over it, kind of hitting. I had a rough childhood.
Your dad didn't work in a coal mine.
How did you know? You might have at one point in his life.
He might have. You know what? He might have. His life was wild.
But yeah, I think Jay will get those digits.
He's got it.
He's probably already. He's main event Jay. Why wouldn't she take the digits?
And for our next topic, and I feel like this is going to be a recurring theme on the show, we are going to try to find the cure for Alzheimer's.
No, it's not the cure for Alzheimer's. It's what's the cure for AEW.
For Alzheimer's. No, it said Alzheimer's. All right, so Todd, can you screenshot a neurological map of the brain for me?
I could.
We practice this, remember? We practice this stuff.
I don't remember.
Yeah. This is the neuroscience part of the show, guys. And there is no cure for AEW as it stands. The only thing that could save AEW would be a transplant into the WWE farm system.
Yeah. Triple H needs to fucking WCW Vince McMahon that shit. It can just be like,
unless they can get somebody to like say The Rock goes, you know what? Fuck it. I already bought a football league. Now I'm gonna buy a fucking wrestling company. And you get somebody like that who can essentially gut the internal workings and start from the top up on how to actually run it, to build it from, you know, stone by stone instead of trying to shoot themselves to the moon out of a cannon. Tony Khan, it's been fun, man. Like, we've essentially had a kid playing with his action figures for 5 years now. And he's, you know, we have imaginations, and sometimes things go a little weird, and it's not exactly the best, but sometimes you have some epic things going.
We talked about, I mentioned it, whatever, they were doing this big build up to this whatever, this and that, and debuting the other night. the hologram. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's Tony's Khan. I think it's just Tony Khan on coke. Just
Dude,
it's a fever. It's a drug-induced fever dream he had.
Like they started so well. Like that first pay-per-view when Cody wins and the fucking throne's there and he smashes it. Like they're missing that piece that I'm assuming Cody brought with him to kind of keep things in check, to kind of, because not every storyline is going to work out, regardless of how good, we think it's going to be and anything else. Some shit just does not catch. There's other shit that seems like fucking Rusev Day. Fly by the, fucking Austin 316, that was a cutaway improv promo that turned into the biggest merch sale of all time in WWE. And it still is. It's still consistently in the top 5, top 10.
I see Austin 316 shirts everywhere, all the time.
Dude, when I wear mine, I get I'll be at the gas station going to buy an energy drink before work, and Austin 316, woo! High five. I get comments anywhere I go when I wear it, and it just shows somebody has to have the vision. And a long time ago, Shitty McMahon had that vision. He was younger. He had his finger on the pulse, but he kind of crapped the bed on that, as he got older. And it really just worked. It's just not, it's a real shitty situation.
Hold an Amber Heard.
Well, let's see. Yeah. Let's see those two out on a date, huh? Woo.
Yeah. Now AEW it was exciting for a point in time, and then it was kind of like one of those things.
They had Cody, they had Mox, they had
But even all that's just kind of got overplayed. It's all the same shit, Moxley wrestles, somebody bleeds. Moxley wrestles, somebody bleeds. Moxley wrestles, somebody bleeds.
It's Moxley bleeding now. It's Brian Danielson or somebody else, and they're bringing in good people that should be getting them insane views, and I feel like it's not hitting because I feel like it's too little too late.
Storylines are crap for the most part. I don't know what the hell they do.
They're not big on storylines, and recently when I was at the ICW show, I was speaking with a big time wrestler, and he even said it was one of the problems. He goes, their wrestling is fantastic, except each match is 50-50, and then there's a winner. You're not seeing somebody come in and bulldoze over somebody else, which you don't realize sometimes you need. You need those things. You need those things to happen, and it's like
the biggest issue with AEW is Tony Khan is trying to be Paul Heyman with ECW, but with money. And the biggest difference is the fact that ECW didn't have money is what made ECW work. ECW was never going to be a long-term thing. It never would have sustained. And Paul Heyman said that. He's like, if we could get, ECW's falling came down to they had a pay-per-view deal, but the pay-per-view people wouldn't pay them until after the pay-per-view, but they needed the money from the pay-per-view to put on the pay-per-view.
Right.
So it fell apart, and that's when Vince was able to kind of come in and start sneaking talent, and then eventually just, hey, I want to buy that copyright.
Right.
They were one pay-per-view away from having their real shot. Instead of being those underground tapes that us as young kids be like, yo, oh, Garrett's got the VHS of the new ECW pay-per-view they put on because we couldn't get it. We got it in some pieces. It was like UFC back in the day.
Yeah.
And the thing that's the big difference between it is Paul had heart. Paul had to have fire. Paul had to, all right, I want to do this, but I have to figure out how I'm going to do this. Where Tony Khan's like, take my money. Oh my God, Chris Jericho. Okay, here, take more money. Yeah, do whatever you want. Oh, Edge, Christian, do whatever you want. Oh, Sting, come in. Oh, here, somebody wheel Sting in here. Okay, here's some money. Do whatever you want. Instead of having these misfits, these guys, which these guys most of these guys are in their career. They're kind of the castaways, which a lot of the ECW talent was. And it's like, let's put on something great. You've got a lot of guys there who have heart, but when you get Tony Khan sitting on the top of the mountain who hasn't had to endure anything in his life, he just, here, take this, you're not going to have that same ambition there when you can just throw your piggy bank at whatever you want.
Right.
And then we rant for right now.
No, you're right. I mean, Khan just had a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, it's it did seem like it took the dip when with all the infighting that started like around Punk, but they could never get on top of that. Was he a problem there? Sure, but it also exposed other problems that they had. Because if he can go back to WWE and so far have not having any of those problems, otherwise he'd be gone. Because Triple H has zero issue with probably kicking him out the door if he does have it, if there is an issue. So then what really was the problem? And then now, how many months later, they show that tape, and it was awful. I mean, the dude who was responsible for making everyone flip the channel to watch Mick Foley win the title, and the ratings never went back the other way. He was sitting there. He didn't even want to introduce that tape. He didn't say a word. You could tell, you could see the look on his face. He wanted nothing to do with it because he knew, because he had already done that once in his career.
Well,
so
I think the biggest difference with the two companies is you have a very, very clear-cut, established hierarchy, and not having talent being the ones who are coming up with active talent, coming up with the storylines essentially for themselves, putting them first and everything else. Because let's be honest, that's what most people are going to do.
Yeah,
I think that's what causes a lot of that infighting is because, oh, hey, Garrett, I want to do this on the show. And Todd's like, well, no, I want to do this on the show. Well, we're all pretty much equal, even though you're supposed to be at the top. You've made it so we're all kind of on the same platform. So, yeah, you're going to butt heads instead of being like, well, I come up with the decision at the end of the day. Todd, that's great that you want to do that, but we're going to go forward with this. At the end of the day, you're like, okay, boss, instead of being on the same wavelength where everybody can kind of get what that's going to cause people to get a little bit more physical and come out a little certain way. But CM Punk knows he has no control over at WWE, so guess what? There's nothing to get pissed off about when you're pitching your idea, he's pitching his idea, and they go with his idea, and now he's getting a push or whatever. No, that they did it. I have no control over that. So you're not going to have argument. And it's not that – I feel like AEW is more like that classic back locker room where everybody's kind of traveling together, rolling together and everything, where WWE is turned into such an office environment that you and I might have been on the roster together for 10 years, but I really don't know shit about you. But I've worked with you and everything, but I've never really spent time with you. You're my coworker. Where back in the day, it was everybody knew everybody, did everybody, and had fun with it.
Right. One thing I didn't write up here, because
Alzheimer's is such a big word.
Right. Is does anyone else think that it's possible that Roman comes back and he brings Jay back, or he brings Jimmy back? Is it possible that Solo gets ousted from the new bloodline?
No.
No?
And dude, I don't know if you guys noticed this. They already set the seeds of bloodline reconciliation last night with Sammy and Jay teaming up.
Oh yeah.
When after Sammy rescued him, the first thing Sammy said to him, "What's up, Oos?" It wasn't like, "Hey man, are you okay?" It was, "Hey, we're still super tight."
Right.
I know we're gonna get into this next week, but you are going to have Roman interfere on the Solo Cody match, and that was going to set up OG Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0 at Survivor Series, where you have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson come out, and you think he's here to help Roman Reigns, but he helped Solo win, and you find out that he is the Tribal Chief. And that sets up Rock and Roman at Mania. Now, the timeline might go a little bit longer or whatever, but that is what's happening. You've heard it here first at 8:42 on 7/23/2024. Even though I've already been talking about this for 2 weeks.
That's a lot of numbers.
Make your bet right now. Stone's out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think that those are going to be the eventualities. We're going to see but I just wasn't sure because they keep on talking about the other signings of the new bloodline people coming in, and I wasn't sure if one of the possibilities of the things happening, like if this other person joins the blood, now there'd be 5 in there, and even if Jay so Roman comes back and it's him, and then he brings back Jimmy, and then even if Jay and Sammy come over, that's 4. That's 4 and 5. So I wasn't sure. Is there a possibility that they even oust Solo, and then Rock comes out, and then what's his name? Jacob. He takes that and he puts it on him. And he puts on
just because they sign them doesn't mean they're going to debut now or anytime soon. They might
Right.
have them on NXT. You got to remember, Rock's daughter's still on NXT too.
Right.
She's doing a good job. I like her as a manager.
Yeah, I agree. And so, just and how long? We didn't see Jacob Fatu for what? Almost 2 fucking months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much it became a joke on the show. That's how long. And they keep on talking about Hikuleo, but I don't know when he's going to debut or how you're going to see him. So that's, I don't know.
And you don't know what, you don't know what level these guys are at either, or they might want to keep them down in developmental and wait till the perfect time to debut them. Go Big Spliff.
What if Jacob Fatu turns on Solo? Just more of a mind fuck, and then joins fucking Roman and shit.
That'd be fucking awesome.
That'd be crazy, but like I just said, I see him turning on Solo and ousting him from
Solo's done. I feel like Solo's done too much, and he's just so far new to this heel character. I think he's. I honestly, what Todd's saying to me makes the most sense. With Jacob Fatu being such a wild card, and him say he actually acknowledges Roman as the fucking tribal chief. Well, so he's gonna take the side of the real tribal chief. And
right.
But I get what you're saying with the signings. Are they gonna make a bigger faction on each side or whatever? I think they might wait for that till we find out who the real's head of the table, and then you have Bloodline 3.0. You know what I mean? You actually have Bloodline SmackDown, Bloodline Raw, Bloodline NXT. It's just one big happy fucking Samoan family.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm the real tribal chief.
Acknowledge him. I acknowledge you, Todd.
Thank you.
I acknowledge you.
Thank you.
All right, so it also says the UWE Ultimate.
Watch UWE Ultimate. And yeah, guys, listen. if you're watching this, if you're in the Central New York area, UWE, located in Oneida, it's a great place if you want to be a wrestler to start your career. Right?
But not only a wrestler, Garrett. Tell them what else they could be.
They could be a manager.
Manager,
You could be a referee, a valet, anything. You come here and you can get in the biz.
And if you buy the top tier package, you get to super kick Garrett in the face anytime you want. Free pass.
It usually
and you get to be the person who fights in Garrett's Let Garrett Fight Memorial Tournament.
Yes.
Hardcore style.
We should just have a rumble for it.
Well, I'll rumble you, Tadifer.
It's Splifford.